Hey everybody, this is Julius of the Goat Movie Podcast. I'm here to reintroduce a series of videos, a weekly series of videos that were on our old channel. These are the What If discussions, where we discuss different points in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and drastically change them, seeing how the universe as a whole would be affected. These videos started back in 2019 in anticipation for the What If series now on Disney+. I'm joined by a variety of different guests where we talk about these different instances and scenarios. We're going to release them weekly like we did beforehand, and we hope you enjoy them. Obviously, a lot of these discussions became episodes, so it's going to be fun to compare and contrast then to what we have now. Enjoy the content, the conversation. Have a good one, stay safe, and goodbye. What's happening, everybody? My name is Julius.
And I'm Malcolm Jones.
Malcolm, what is the question of the day?
The question of the day is if Yondu
Yes.
never passed away.
Yeah, in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, in Volume 2.
Volume 2.
Yeah, if he stayed alive.
What's going on with this?
You know, it's something that I've really been trying to think about. And what's crazy to me is I feel like I would like it, but it would be less... Saying less impactful isn't really fair. But it would kind of change the view of... or the emotional status of Quill.
Right.
You know, he would... I don't know if Yondu would have been so forthcoming with some of the information he had if it wasn't for the dire circumstances.
Right.
So, something about, you know, he may have been your father, but he's not your daddy. You know...
That probably wouldn't have happened.
It probably wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
So, we wouldn't have had something like this till there was another traumatic event, because he's just one of those people who just holds it in.
Yeah.
So... I don't know if I would like it as much. And it sucks because I really like Yondu as a character.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorite Guardians. Absolutely.
And he was a Guardian.
Yeah, mainly because of Michael Rooker's... That's his name, right?
Yes.
Yeah, his performance.
It's crazy to see someone who started on The Walking Dead, taking off his own forearm, basically.
Yeah.
To Yondu.
And has worked with James Gunn on several projects.
Oh, yeah.
Like friggin' Super, he's in that. He's in Slither. And he's just a really, really fun actor, man.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's why it did hurt when he did die in Volume 2. Because there was obviously a lot going on with him that was teased in the first film.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's fun to see him, you know, say, hey, jacket! You know, like, that's always fun.
Yeah.
He's a redneck in space. Who doesn't like that? But there's obviously a lot of stuff going on deeper with him, which they really did pack on in Volume 2.
That's where they really flushed it out.
Yeah. And it's amazing because you said in the previous Guardians What If video, not a lot of people knew the Guardians.
Yeah.
And he was part of the original team. A lot of people didn't know that, and it wasn't not the most successful comic book. And the team was so obscure, and Yondu was part of that original team, and a lot of people didn't really care about his character. Like, no one knew him.
Yeah.
And here comes these movies where they add a lot and give him so much depth and character and just emotion, you know? A testament to your guy, James Gunn. Yeah. As a writer. What about... so you said you wouldn't like it, you know, or it wouldn't be your preference.
Well, I feel like it would end the same way. Eventually, we wouldn't really hear all these things until a death level event.
Yeah,
for either Quill or Yondu. So I think that would just more prolong that.
The inevitable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but based on how reckless they both are, that makes the most sense.
Yeah. Well, let's say if he didn't die, do you think he would reach his redemption anyway? Because at the very end of Volume 2, he's looked at as this forgiven hero, you know, by the Guardians and his old crew with Stallone and everyone. You know, the Ravengers. You know, they give him the proper send off, the memorial.
Absolutely. One of the best parts of the film.
Yeah.
Arguably.
Yeah, seriously. And do you think that he would still be respected like that? Is a death necessary for him?
That's the problem. This is really a perception piece.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like he would, but the Ravengers are a very proud people in that sense. And I think the death is what really blew it over the edge for them.
Yeah.
You know, not only did you try to save the universe, you sacrifice yourself to do so.
Yeah.
And that such selfless act is something that should be able to forgive other things in the past.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's weird. I would say yes.
We'd hope yes.
Yeah, that's the problem. I would hope yes, but I don't know. It's a kind of a tough one.
It'd be so great. I would love it if he was forgiven by Stallone and his crew, his old team, and we could get them together again, starting to rebuild a relationship. You know.
And remember, because of his death, they're bringing back the old crew. That's what I'm saying.
Sick.
His death really sparked a lot of new things that are going to be really interesting and really impactful.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, if he wasn't to pass away, these things probably wouldn't have happened, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. They even say in that post-credit scene Stallone's talking about, it was because of the death of Yondu that it inspired them all to come back together. Which is amazing. Yeah. I mean, look at that cast. Like, holy shit. You got Stallone, Michael Rosenbaum, Michelle Yeoh, Ving Rhames. Miley Cyrus was the little robot head, which is teased to Black Mirror. I would hope there's a movie about that.
I feel like there will be.
Yeah.
I think that's what's supposedly going to come after 3. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Gunn will be a part of it, which I think is okay. He's trying to do different stuff, so I get it. Yeah. Especially with the whole Disney feud. But we're not getting into that.
Let's not get into that. Yeah. Well, let's say that he did, instead of, if he lived, right? Mm-hmm. And he didn't go with his original team, but he stuck with Quill and what would become his new family. Mm-hmm. We know the future of the Guardians. It goes to Infinity War. Yeah. It goes to Endgame. How do you think Yondu could have been incorporated in those films, if at all?
Well, I mean, he would have just been a great deal of support. I mean, he can hit multiple things happening. I mean, just from, a strength perspective and a tactical perspective, he would have been very useful.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I still think the end of Infinity War would have been the end of Infinity War. With or without him, that would have been the same, unfortunately.
The battle just would have been different.
But the question would have been, would he have been snapped away?
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know. It's possible. A lot of the Guardians did. So it's not unlikely.
I could see him being snapped away.
If he wasn't, Endgame would have been really interesting.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Like if you think about it, if he was in Endgame, I mean, the amount of sarcasm would have just blew through the roof. Yeah. I can only imagine in the fake post-credit scene they had for Captain Marvel.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I can only imagine that she shows up and then the arrow...
Oh, that would have been cool.
That I would have actually liked.
You know what would have been really interesting? If he did survive and he was stuck on Earth with Rocket. Yeah. It would have been really interesting.
Because they were really getting their dynamic together.
Yeah, they had a great relationship. Yeah. And they would have both been in very similar roles. But I think that the fact that Nebula did live, that's kind of what that was. Yeah. But I definitely would have loved to see Yondu, just because you're right, the sarcasm levels are. Seeing him meet up with Captain America and just talk to him like, why are you? And that would have been so great. And I think that if they had kept him around, he would have met up with freaking Hawkeye. Oh yeah. And that shit would have been amazing. It's like, hey, try this out. And Hawkeye's like whistling with the arrow. That would have been awesome.
That would have been crazy.
Yeah. Or if he did die, he would have just come back through one of the portals. And he would have been like, all right, it's time. It's time to go. Let's go, tree. Let's do or a twig, he called him. Twig. Imagine if it was...
Then he would adopt the new nickname for Rocket, which is Rabbit.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. We probably would have gotten friggin' the little trio we had, Thor, Rocket, and Groot. Yeah. Yondu would have probably been there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that would have been so amazing. Now that we're getting through all the, bro, that part, can you describe Yondu's emotional role within the Guardians of the Galaxy?
From which movie, or just as a whole?
As a whole.
I mean, as a whole, he's like a distant father figure, which is really weird to say, but it's kind of true. Someone that's been there for you, but not emotionally necessarily, but's always been around to help, but you may not have really been, it's not obvious, but he has been there, which is which is I think is really difficult to pull off on a character, or as a person. That's hard to be in someone's life but not really be there.
Yeah.
And actually have an impact when the person doesn't really notice it until it's, almost too late.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I really felt. He was like the distant father.
Yeah. I mean,
that still cared.
That's one of the most heartbreaking things about Volume 2 when they go through the memories that they shared together. Yondu taught him how to shoot. Mm-hmm. He even helps him fight off Ronin at the end of the first film.
Yeah.
There is a love there.
And he has a respect for when he realizes he didn't get the stone.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a great part.
It's a great part. Are you kidding me?
That's the best part. He gets trolled, and he loved it. He's like, I taught my boy well. Man, that's such a great relationship. Since this is for now, the last Guardians What If.
Yeah.
Until Volume 3, which is probably like
Phase
35 years from now.
Can't even think about Phase 5.
I don't want to think about it. Angel wants to do a podcast about that. I was like, dude, stay in Hawaii. I don't want to do that right now. Okay, so when it comes to Volume 3, since I know you love Guardians of the Galaxy, and I know your opinions on the whole controversy that happened last year with Gunn, what do you think the main driving force is going to be in that film, especially now that it's been delayed?
It's really weird, because I used to have a pretty good idea, but because of this new Thor movie, it's going to be different. I can't even imagine it right now, because I'm trying to get my head around. So we're going to have Natalie Portman as the new female Thor. Which
neither of us thought was ever going to happen.
I thought she hated being around as period.
But then they were like, we got some money for you and Natalie.
And a leading role.
And a leading
role. That helped as well.
It's like, another.
And Taika Waititi helps as well. So.
And they're taking from an interesting period in the comics.
Absolutely.
With her character. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot going for that.
Yeah, it's so weird. I hate to even say this. It feels like they're doing a lot. It's my only concern about the movie so far. Mm-hmm. They're doing so much. I mean, you have female Thor going on. You still have Thor with the Guardians. You have the Valkyries, who's now running the new Asgard. I mean, those are a lot of big stories to tell in one movie. And even not that they can't do it.
And a new villain. Whoever that's going to be.
And then on top of that, this movie, if the Guardians are in it, which it sounds like they have to be.
Yeah.
It would set up for set up for Volume 3.
Well, that's why I think. Are you sure it's coming out before?
That's what they're saying. I can double check, but from what I remember, that was why I was confused. It didn't really make sense why it would be before. But if it was before, then this would have to have the Guardians.
Yeah.
Unless there was some weird time skip or another blip, which I doubt.
Right. Well, maybe it seems like it's coming out before just because it's been announced officially.
It's possible. It would make more sense if it wasn't. That's why, But hopefully I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, great. If I'm not, concerned.
Guardians 3 probably would have come out before Thor, like way before the bullshit happened.
It should.
Because, I mean, the only reason it's being pushed back is because he's doing Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'm excited for that.
But, I am too.
But I want Guardians 3 more than I want his Suicide Squad.
Well, you can blame Disney on that one. It is, I don't even need to explain it. We already know whose fault it is.
Yeah. Yeah, well... Okay, so Guardians 3, I think, is definitely, hopefully, going to be about closure, getting your final goodbyes in, since Gamora's still out there.
Well, that's kind of the beauty. We know for a fact, regardless of when it comes out, he is going to be searching for Gamora. That's not even a question. That was what he was doing in Endgame. He was just like, all right, I'm looking for her. Where have I seen her around?
Yeah.
Or who's seen her around?
Yeah.
That was what we ended with him on.
Yeah.
So, of course that's what he's doing.
Well, and now that they got Thor in there, I mean, I really hope he's in that third film.
He has to be.
You don't tease it like that, and then just be like, oh, we dropped him off at the very beginning. We dropped him off at Spaceport. It's like, no, dude, have him in there. It would be a nice kind of like transition because Thor had like a bunch of actors.
Wait a minute, I just thought of something. That actually
What'd you got?
Bad. Well, so imagine that Thor and I forgot the title of the new Thor movie.
Love and Thunder.
It's Love and Thunder. Yeah. So Thor, Love and
Thunder.
Or
just Thor.
Yeah. But which, that's right. It'd be great. So, you remember how Ragnarok started? He was just basically spinning on a chain.
Yeah.
You could have him in a scenario where he's like already in a bad situation and he's explaining the story again. But it's how he got kicked off the ship.
Wow. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm just saying.
Don't do that.
That would be pretty funny.
We got it.
So all I'm saying.
We got into a fist fight, and then he just kicked me out.
No, it'd be hilarious.
Wow.
He, like, ruined the ship somehow. No, you can see it. It'd be hilarious. I'm not saying they should do it. I'm saying I could see it.
No, I could see it too, because that's what they did in Ragnarok.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of Ragnarok and the directing style of Taika and the way he handled Thor, you know, this character who kind of started out more dramatic, and now he's comedic.
Well, not even that. He's changed people's perceptions of Thor.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even including me, a lot of people weren't a big fan.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it's just true. People like
it's
him more.
I mean, it's weird
on the comedic route.
Yeah, but that's weird to me. Because
no, it is.
I remember a lot of people when that first Thor film came out, they did like it.
Yeah.
You know, and they liked Thor. There's a reason people were excited for him in the Avengers.
Right.
You know, it's not because he sucked.
Right. I think for me, what I've really realized, especially after playing God of War and reliving Norse mythology again, which I do like a lot.
Right.
For me, it's really hard to look at Thor from the first two movies because I think of Thor from Norse, which is a different Thor.
Very different.
Very different.
Yeah.
And I see him like doing like, this isn't even really fair to say, but like a half-assed version. And I only say that because the level of violence and the level of ego he has is different in Norse than in Marvel, which makes sense. That's fair. But that's all I think about. And then I see Ragnarok, and you're like, oh, that's completely 180 on what he was even supposed to look like. And I think that's why people may like him more. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But for me, I respected what they were doing.
In Ragnarok?
No, just in the beginning.
Oh, in the
beginning. Respected it.
Absolutely.
It just wasn't for me.
Okay.
And Ragnarok was more for me.
Right.
I think they went it was too jarring to make that jump. I would agree with that. But other than that, now I'm used to it.
Well,
so,
Well, here's my thing. What's interesting about Ragnarok, it came out right before Infinity War.
Yep.
That whole story started. And
the lead-in for Infinity War.
It was the lead-in. And we went from this very comedic, quippy improv Thor to a Thor that was much more similar to what he was in the very beginning.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a mixture of both. And I thought it was really smart that they did show off the comedic elements that were present in Ragnarok, but they showed it as kind of the shield to his vulnerability. And here's the thing about it, and I'm going to ask you this for Thor: Love and Thunder.
Sure.
There's a lot of serious potential for that story, especially when you're bringing in Jane Foster in again as the Lady Thor. The reason in these books that she becomes Lady Thor is because she gets cancer. She gets terminal cancer, and this helps her live more. It's kind of this dream, and she activates Lady Thor to get out of the sickness of her real life. So that's very heavy stuff. And it does sound like it's something that belongs with a Russo brothers or a Gunn even. Here's the thing about it. Do you think that Taika is going to be able to get that emotional, content out and display it in the right way that it should be? Or do you think it's going to be more in line? Because we've had two films with Thor since Ragnarok where he was more serious. We saw what happened with him.
I think that was the importance of seeing him, seeing who he became in Endgame.
Yeah.
Is you see this person who, you're right, he used his comedy as a shield for his emotions and his feelings, and you can see that he can be serious. He just doesn't want to because he doesn't want to feel the pain.
Right.
So I can see Taika doing a good job, especially knowing where his character has been through Infinity War and in Endgame. I think he can do a good job. I think it'll be a good balance.
Okay.
Yeah. I doubt he would go like, oh, look, you got cancer.
Wide shot.
Don't touch me.
It's a wide flat shot in the hospital.
Yeah, exactly. I don't see that going on.
It's like when he meets up with Thor in the hospital, he's like, was it because of me that this happened? It's like, did the snap do this? Korg?
Was it all the Call of Duty?
Yeah, was it all maybe I shouldn't have been playing Fortnite all that time.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that, hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, this is
I do feel like he might be like at first a little distant and do a little like, cooties or some dumb.
Wow.
I hope not. I don't want that.
Looks at this poor woman with cancer. Cooties.
Yeah, I don't know. He might act like I don't know. Because I don't know how far he's willing to push it. Because he hasn't, if I'm being honest, from a comedic perspective, he did not push it. He didn't push it to an uncomfortable amount of comedy.
In what?
Ragnarok.
Oh, he didn't push it?
No.
Well, not to that.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, since he didn't, I don't expect him to now.
Yeah.
And if he did, it'd be impressive.
Yeah.
Because I feel a lot of people would be angry.
We got this really emotional
especially
scene.
a lot of Natalie Portman fans, which I'm sure there's some on the channel, even though I've said what I've said.
You haven't scared them all off.
No. Like I said, as an actress, she's great.
Very emotional scene with Jane in the bed.
Black Swan was an amazing film.
She's looking like freaking Quill's mom in the bed, and then Thor's like having this emotional moment with her, and then Korg comes in, and it's like, oh, what's wrong with her? She looks very skinny, man. She's like, don't do that. Don't do that.
And Thor goes like, oh, that's the new lap band.
Did she need?
That's what I'm saying.
Does she need a sandwich? She's very skinny.
It's the new Hollywood diet.
Oh shit.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. There's a. Well, wow, that's just references all day. But yeah.
Thor, Love and Thunder! Don't do it.
You're right.
Imagine if this movie was directed by James Gunn.
I'd like it more. But I have no issue with Taika. I think he's a good choice.
You wanted him for Guardians 3, right?
If we couldn't get Gunn,
right,
he could do a good job.
Right.
I don't know if that's exactly I wanted him to do it. It's
well,
more a substitute.
Case,
if I had to have a substitute.
What if, essentially?
Yeah. Yeah. I'd be okay with that.
Well, I mean, we kind of went off the rails, but that's kind of the point. Mm-hmm. Everybody, what do you think about Yondu's character? And hey, what the hell? What do you think about Thor 4? And
Thor!
You're going to come out of Thor, Love and Thunder, asking for another. And I'm excited for it. I'm excited for all these films.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm excited for Phase 4.
Yeah.
It looks good.
It looks like it's going to be really wild. And that's all we can ask for, especially after a Guardians, an MCU with Guardians in it. Mm-hmm. We want more insane shit. Let's do it. All right, everybody. My name is Julius.
And I'm Malcolm Jones.
Guys, it's been 3 years of the GOAT podcast. Please subscribe so we can get to 3,000. We're nearly there. 3,000 subscribers. After that, 30,000. And then 30 million. Infinity. Asgard. We can get a palace made of gold because of you guys.
Rainbow Road, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do it. Bifrost. All right, everybody. Goodbye. Peace out. The GOAT podcast is proof you don't have to look any further for movie news, reviews, trailer reactions, or special discussions. Subscribe, get notified about what's going on, and I promise you'll be entertained by our daily content on YouTube. If you want more, we're on Twitter at GOAT Film Podcast, Instagram The GOAT Podcast, and the GOAT Movie Group on Facebook. Get connected with us, see what's happening, and make sure to love it while you're doing so.